Well, Chance, look, the doctor who was fired was one of three independent neurotrauma experts that NFL concussion rules already say have to be on hand for each and every game. Now, the trouble is that critics say that under the current NFL rules, the team doctors, not the independent experts, retain the, quote, exclusive right to determine whether a player can actually go back into a game. So put another way, it's the unaffiliated neurotrauma doctor. Well, they may be the expert, but they're not actually the decider. The team doc, who might not have expertise in the brain injuries and whose paycheck also comes from an organization that, quite frankly, there's a lot of pressures to win. And so while the NFL is promising tonight some changes are coming to its concussion rules, there's one Miami attorney who we spoke to, Brad Sohn, who says that the rules that he's heard so far don't go far enough. And this guy's one of the lead attorneys in the NFL players' concussion litigation, which resulted in a $1 billion settlement that the NFL had to pay.
This idea of having an unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant stems from the notion that team doctors face the pressure of putting a guy back out on the field right away because although they are doctors and have some obligation to the patient, they're being paid by the team. And so the goal of having this more independent person is that they're not being paid by the team and that therefore their interest is only making sure that there isn't a huge risk to a player's safety from a brain injury standpoint. And that sounds great until you unpack what the actual policy says and how it plays out. You have this person who's theoretically a neurospecialist and can be in a better position to make judgments about brain injury. But this person ultimately is not the final check on whether or not a player goes back into a game or is held out or anything like that.
It sounds like what you're saying is that this is almost just a giant loophole in the concussion protocol where it allows the advice of neuro experts to effectively be thrown out the window.
The way that rule is written, it is almost not a rule. The exception swallows the rule to a point that's really absurd.
What is the solution here, Brad? Like what does the rule need to be?
And I think it really would be possible to have doctors that their sole obligation is to the players and not to the team.
So at the end of the day here, Chance, Sohn is really saying that brain injuries can lead to a long list of problems down the road for players or anyone who, especially that gets them repeatedly. And he wants the players to get good, clear information from physicians who just don't have any external pressures that are placed on them. And Chance, the Players Association may have cut ties with one of their independent experts over the weekend, but so far neither the NFL nor the Dolphins have said that they've taken any action against the Dolphins team doctor. Now, the NFL, though, and the Players Association, I should tell you, they are saying that in order to, quote, enhance player safety, that they're going to be making some changes in the coming days. And the league is signaling that by Game 5, which is coming up this weekend, that any player who stumbles after a hit, like we saw with the Dolphins quarterback, would be ruled out from returning to play in the same game, no matter the reason for stumbling, even if they think it's just a back injury.
Okay. Yeah, hearing him discuss that, you just have to imagine if your pinky was sticking out sideways, they'd say, oh, this person's clearly injured. So, that's a more obvious injury, but both are critical. I mean, brains, and we know their sensitivity, absolutely critical. So with that in mind, do we know how other contact sports, because there are some rough and tumbles out there, how they treat concussions compared to NFL?
Well, this is an odd sport to bring up, but we looked into it, and you might be surprised that boxing actually is an interesting one to talk about. Now, in boxing, if a referee stops a fight by a technical knockout because the player just really can't move on in the fight, you can't box again for 30 days. Now, if you're actually knocked out, there's a 60-day mandatory rest period. Now, in the NFL, there's no specified amount of time that the player has to sit out, although it's worth noting that they do have to be cleared by a neuro expert after they actually are diagnosed with a concussion.
Some important context. Mark Greenblatt, appreciate it.